Okay, flashcards. So I know it works for some people. What's your take on flashcards?
Do I have to give you the diplomatic answer, or do you have to?
You can give the answer you want.
Okay. I think that flashcards can be a good tool if you find it rewarding, if you like it. A lot of people swear by it. A lot of people like it. They say they learn a language by using them. So if you like them, by all means do that. Use them, because I think it's one of the tools that you can use, one of the tools of your arsenal that you can use in order to learn a language. Personally, I've never used them. I've never felt the
You
use.
never use flashcards.
I've never used flashcards. I use the bidirectional translation system to understand, to get a very good grasp of the language. And then what I do mainly is listening to podcasts and watching videos in a very active way, taking notes, re-listening, trying different steps, going through the same podcast from different angles, so to speak. But I don't make lists. I don't compile lists of words. I never try to memorize words. I know this sounds ridiculous, because people tend to think, how do you memorize if you don't make an effort to memorize? That's what I said before. If you expose yourself to the language long enough, and you expose yourself to content that is enjoyable, that is rich in words that you don't know, for example, 20% of the words in a text you don't know, or 10%, it means that you're moving the needle, because you are being exposed to content you do not know.
And you can acquire these new words.
You acquire them, and why do you acquire them? Let me go back to what I was saying before. How do you acquire words without memorizing them? It all boils down to one thing. It's called acquisition. At the beginning of learning a language, at the beginning stages of learning a language, you do not have the infrastructure in your head in order to memorize. That is the reason why people tend to, not everybody, but a lot of students tend to make the mistake of trying to memorize words when they do not have any infrastructure in their head. To give you a metaphor, maybe it's more, you can visualize it. Imagine that you have a spider web. You have this room, there's a spider web. If the spider web has a lot of spaces, right? So it's not very thick, then words, flies, just fly around and they don't get stuck in the spider web. But the more you expose yourself to the language, the thicker the spider web becomes, and the words just get stuck in the spider web without you making an effort. So at the beginning stages, I mainly focus on trying to understand the language, not trying to memorize. But the more you expose yourself to the language, the bigger this language infrastructure grows in your head, and then words get stuck in the net, so to speak, automatically, because your brain identifies and already identifies, for example, certain parts of words, some root. Oh, this word is unknown, but I understand it from context, and also contains some other smaller words that I already know. So it becomes much easier to memorize things without doing anything when it comes to...
You're figuring out stuff.
Yes, and you do it holistically. Holistically means that you get exposed to content, and your brain picks up information always from context. While with flashcards, what happens normally is that a lot of time you tend to learn words from out of context.
It's just like a list of words, basically.
Not necessarily, because you can build flashcards, for example, by using sentences. You can take a text, you can extract pieces of information. But the problem with that, especially at the beginning, is that you do not have that infrastructure. I would use flashcards, for example, at a more advanced stage, intermediate stage. I think that could be useful. But I would always do it in conjunction with podcasts or videos. So I watch a video, I extract some words or pieces of language that I like, phrases, collocations and whatnot, and then I can form a story with that, or I can create a summary. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't need, I've never used flashcards. I'm not saying that you do not have to use it. I'm just saying that if you use it the wrong way, in the wrong context, and at the wrong stage, then you run the risk of slowing down your progress, and sometimes it can even stifle your progress, because you think, oh, I'm doing all this work, so I'm making progress. Well, you're not making progress because you're focusing more on learning a language deliberately rather than acquiring. Acquiring is the base. Deliberate learning is good if it happens together with acquisition. That happens when you consume content in the language, massive content over a long period of time.